Looks like there's a lot going on in this problem, but here's what we've got. There's two very particular social networking companies. There's one company for financial advisors and one company for accountants. And these functions are the revenue functions for the years 2007 to 2012. So over this time period, 2007 to 2012, this is how we're projecting the revenues for these companies. So this is the revenue projected for the financial advisors, that networking company, and this is the revenue projection for the accountant networking company. Now what we can do here is we can compare the two revenues by division. I'm going to call that a ratio. So the ratio, I'm going to take the revenue for the finance company, the finance networking company, and I'm going to compare it to the revenue to the networking company for accountants. And this is going to be, okay, now f of x is negative 4x squared plus 10. A of x is this negative x squared plus 6. Now, in the year 2009, we're going to get that x is equal to 2, right? Because everything goes from 2007 to 2012, and 2009 is 2 years from that 2007. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this 2 in here for x and see what that gives us. So we're going to have this. The ratio at 2 is equal to negative 4 times 2 squared plus 10 over negative 2 squared plus 6. That's going to give us negative, okay, so what do we get here? 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16 plus 10 over negative, that 2 squared is a 4 plus 6, so where are we? Negative 16 plus 10 is negative 6. Negative 4 plus 6 is 2. You get a negative 3. So what we've got is this. Let me just do it right here. We're saying this, that f of x at 2, compare that to a of 2, that's equal to negative 3, but we can rewrite it like this to make some sense out of it. F of 2 is equal to negative 3 times a of 2, which means what? This means that in 2009, 2 years since our beginning date of 2007, in 2009, the revenue for this finance company is negative 3 times as much as the revenue for this company. So we're comparing the revenues. We're saying that the revenue for the financial advisors, that company, is negative 3 times the revenue for the networking company for the accountants. So I think our first answer here is going to be, just it says show answer. I'm just going to put in the negative 3. Now what I'm looking for here is how does the revenue of the financial advisors network compare? Okay, that was the first one. Write an expression for the rate of change, the rate at which the ratio of revenue changes. Here's our ratio of the revenues right here. That's our ratio of the revenues. I want to know how does that change. So I need R prime. So we're going to compute R prime of x. Now R prime of x, this is a quotient, right? It's a quotient. So we're going to have the bottom times the derivative of the top minus the top times the derivative of the bottom all over the bottom squared. So we're looking at this one down here, right? I mean, we're really down here. So let's do it. So this is going to be the bottom, which is negative x squared plus 6 times the derivative of the top. Now, the derivative of this top is, bring the 2 down as a multiplier and decrease it by 1, negative 8x. So we'll get times negative 8x. There's the bottom times the derivative of the top. Now, there's the minus the top, negative 4x squared plus 10 times the derivative of the bottom, and the derivative of the bottom, down here, right, down here, negative 2x, just negative 2x, all over the bottom squared, which is negative x squared plus 6 squared. Now some algebra. This is going to be, right, I'm going to multiply through here. So it's going to be negative is positive 8x cubed minus 48x. And then over here, right, negative times negative times negative. Well, that's going to be negative. So we got minus, now this is a 2 times a 4 is an 8, and then the x cubed. And then 2x times 10 is negative 20, but I got a negative there, so that's going to be positive 20x, right? I got negative is positive, 2x times 10 is 20x, all over that denominator squared, negative x squared plus 6 squared. And what happens here? Well, the 8x cubed minus the 8x cubed go out. And you know, we knew that was going to happen, right? Because look at over here. They're both quadratics. If they're both the same degree, those will always get a cancellation there. So what do we have left here? We've got negative 48x plus 20x. That's going to give us negative 20. Let's do it in the same color here. So let me get rid of that. So I'm going to do this as negative 28x over negative x squared plus 6 squared. So I think this is what we're going to answer in the second part. That's an expression that tells us how the rates of revenue change. And then what we want is what actually is that change. This tells us the change at any particular time, and we want it at x equals 2, right? In 2009, so from 2007 to 2009, that's 2 years, and x is the number of years from 2007, so we're 2 years out. So I'm going to put a 2 in here, so we're looking at this. We're looking at, I guess I could call it r prime of 2. R prime of 2 is negative 28 times 2 over quantity, negative 2 squared plus 6 squared, running out of room. So I'm just going to do this. When I computed that, I got negative 14. So I'm going to declare that as my answer. And then what it means, of course, is if we go out one more year from 2009 to 2010, right, 2009 to 2010, the ratio will go down because of the negative sign by 14.